Okay, so we're going to get started. We got 4 scripts to read today, and although I appear grumpy, disgruntled, distracted, and pulled by 20 different things, I do want to say that this is probably going to be one of the most fun and interesting things that I get to officiate this semester. So thank you for all the creativity you guys have been pouring into this. And as I said in the message that I sent out, if you haven't quite got it in yet, remember you have up to 2 weeks to submit something late with a small penalty. So get this in as soon as you can if it hasn't already come in. That's great. It seems like everybody worked out Celtics, finally, although it was much less obvious than I thought it would be. And I apologize for that. I actually have a video about me doing a screen capture of just step-by-step registering for an account and all the way through to exporting something. So I could have put that up, but I just assumed it would be super easy. However, if it's not, just maybe at the end of class, just hang out for 2 minutes and I can show you. But some people have succeeded in sharing their script within Celtics with me, which I didn't even know was possible. Not everyone has seen that by clicking on the print button, you can also produce a PDF, which you can download. So that's the way I was expecting everybody to do it. But you have been, resourceful. So terrific. Today and Thursday are mandatory. You can speak to me if you need an excuse to get out of one or both days. Some people have. We are, as you can see, going to be filming the readings today. We're going to have release forms ready on Thursday. If you don't want to be, at all, first of all, cameras are always going to point forward today. Nobody out in the audience is going to be filmed anyway. And so I guess being a performer would mean you sort of agree. And we'll have the paperwork on Thursday. We got a list of performers. Also on Thursday, we'll have the midterm exam review. So the midterm exam is online. It opens up this coming Sunday, and it's open for that entire week of class. So that week ends on October 20th. That is the final due time for the midterm exam. It's online. It'll be 50 multiple choice or true-false questions. On Thursday, I will have a review document for you. So that's been taking most of my time that I can assign to this course for this last week. There will be some questions you've already seen. There will be many questions you've never seen before. And so the review document will be posted online on Thursday before Thursday's class, and we can look through it. Okay? The exam will not be available until the new week opens up after Sunday at 11 p.m. this coming Sunday. So the exam, you have the whole week to do it. Okay? The other thing we'll be talking about next class is we are going to start in on a second project. We have covered, in our way, we have covered, done what we can on entertainment script writing. We're going to move to informational script writing based on reality. So you'll be, the default assignment is a 5-minute television package. I'll show you examples on Thursday. So this is based on your original reporting. You should be looking for a topic that you can interview a source, and from that interview take some sound bites and work it into a script. So I will do my best on Thursday to get that started, knowing that we won't see each other then after that. So I will have examples, and those examples will be also spread through the modules as we move ahead. That assignment breaks down into, choose a topic in 1 week, write some interview questions, and book an interview with somebody you want to talk to in 1 week. Return with your interview questions, create whatever transcript necessary, extract sound bites, in other words, very short 15-second clips from the interview. You will not be reproducing the entire interview. You'll just be taking short sound bites from it. And then the week afterwards, we'll be working through choosing visuals and writing voiceover to link up those small bits of narration. So that's what we'll discuss in more depth on Thursday. And I'll show at least one example of that type of news story. Okay? So we got a lot to do Thursday. We got a lot to do today. I've already talked enough. In terms of, Albert, good to see you. In terms of the criteria, because I hope we'll have time not just to read these scripts, but also to discuss a little bit after each reading. Remember the things that we were focusing on, because it's obviously a very vast professional field with enormous variability and also talent and technique that one, eventually learns as one goes in. This is just a starting point. In terms of characters, I'd like you, as you listen or perform, think about, how good a job are we doing at showing instead of show, don't tell. So are we using action and imagery to show the character? In terms of dialogue or diction, is it purposeful? In other words, is it advancing some notion of where the story is going, as well as seeming consistent with a character and how they would talk? The organization. Do we establish with reasonable clarity who the protagonist is, what their goal is, and also do we have a hook somewhere towards the end of the script, which is giving the audience a sense of where this is going, what's next? Typically it would be some kind of complication for the protagonist, something that gets in the way of their goal, enough so that we have an idea of what's coming next. The length, we were shooting for 10 pages. If you were writing a sitcom, which typically lasts 30 minutes, the first act is typically 8 to 10 pages long. If you were writing a television drama, which tends to between 50 and 60 minutes total runtime, the first act of a TV drama would be 10 to 15 pages. So, anywhere within that is great. Hey, Dylan. Albert and Dylan, would you like to be added to our performer pool? Can we call on you to read a... Thank you, Dylan. Albert, what do you say? All right. Cool. Okay. So just keep those in mind. Obviously, length, we don't need to worry about too much. Jessica.
I didn't realize that it was going to be filmed, and I'd rather not.
Oh, okay. We'll take you off. Zzzt. All right. Okay, so we're going to start with Alfredo's script, Defiance. So Alfredo, could you come up, take the writer's seat, and can we just do some quick casting? What should we... How many men, how many women do we need? How's be it?
We need 3 men altogether. 2 men. A woman.
Do you want to look through? 2 men and a woman?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Okay.
Because we're not going to stage it. Right?
We're just going to sit. We're just going to sit and read. Yeah.
Just reading, I think there's just 3.
Okay.
The king, the prince, the queen. That's about it. Oh, the old man. So there's 3 men.
3 men and 1 woman. Okay. Terrific.
And of course the narration.
Got it. Matthew?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to be one of the men?
Absolutely.
Come on up. Have a seat. All right. Amanda? You like to be one of the men?
3 more.
Okay. You are on the list, right? Come up and be one of the women. And Jose? Awesome. Script.
Oh.
You are, sir.
I need, sure, I forgot. 3 more men.
3 more men. Can you fill in and read them? Okay. Awesome. There you go. So can you assign roles so that people know who they're reading?
King. Who wants to be the king? King?
No, I'm old.
Well, kings are wise and old. Matthew's a king.
Prince? I'm going to do the prince. There's an older gentleman. I'm going to do that. Let's see. Raldo, the general. He's a mean guy. Soldier, real seasoned.
Mean guy.
Can you do mean? Can you do like a soldier?
Soldier.
A commander of armed forces. And you will be the queen.
Oh, sweet. Let's
Or
do
me?
it.
Yeah, only the ones that are kind of elected. Yeah.
Queen did not drop her paper.
How are we doing?
I think we're good.
Okay. We kind of have to jump in
Yeah.
so that we actually have enough to cover our 4 scripts.
I'll do the commanders. There's 3 of them. You think that's wise to do all 3 commanders?
Do you want me to do one?
Yeah, would you?
Okay.
How about you do number 2?
Okay. I'm Commander 2.
What was my name? What was my name?
Alvarado.
Oh, okay.
And I'm.
Lieutenant Alvarado. You're coming in late.
Oh, okay, cool.
You're the queen.
I didn't
I'll
bring any
take-
pencils for you guys to
Then I'll
mark it
T.
up.
Yeah, 8 or 9.
Gotcha.
Battalion. You're the battalion.
Well, all that information should, yeah,
Lieutenant.
it should all become apparent as we read it, I think.
I think so, too.
I think you'll know who's who.
Oh, Queen Alvarado. Got it.
Ready?
We all ready?
Yeah.
From a high vantage point, we see the grand metropolis of Cuscatlan, the Pipil capital city. It's outside the streets of Katsuclan. We see rows of markets, primates sunbathe on roofs, the spinning and dyeing of textiles everywhere. Carts and sleds loaded with baskets filled with cocoa are dragged by strong men. Loads of seafood are dumped for display. Children are playing instruments or interchanging with domesticated jungle animals. Boys kick a ball around made of wrapped animal skins. Oh, I should say this is 1524 Guatemala. Outside the residential streets of Katsucon, King Atakati is carrying a wild boar. I'm way ahead. This isn't right.
Did you started on the top of page 2?
Oh, sorry guys. 1524, present-day Guatemala. External jungle, daytime. The loud songs of birds and primates are heard. Mosquitoes buzz. There is an easy breeze. Fade in. A determined lieutenant, Pedro de Alvarado, early 30s, facial scars and confident, strides towards his saddled horse, accompanied by his 3 commanders. Their Spanish naval jackets cover their soaked undershirts. Many armed Mayan warriors stand attentively surrounding them. Once mounted, Alvarado signals to march forward. Dissolve 2, a long shot. From behind, as Alvarado and his commanders ride forward, surrounded by Spanish Marines, hundreds of Mayan warriors rise ahead of them from their hiding places in the bush. Intercut. Extreme long shot. Aerial view of a lush and expansive valley. The slashing and crushing of vegetation is heard as the canopy sways and short trees fall. Again, external outside, on a mountaintop, still day, a Pipil scout observes the invaders advance from a treetop miles away. He turns and blows a horn made of hollow squash. Intercut. Many miles from him, a second Pipil scout relays the alarm in the same manner. Dissolve 2, a third scout blows his horn from atop a stone structure near the city. We fade out. From a high vantage point, we see the grand metropolis of Cuscatlan, the Pipil capital city. Cuscatlan streets. We see rows of markets, primates sunbathe on roofs, the spinning and dyeing of textiles everywhere. Carts and sleds, loaded with baskets filled with cocoa, are dragged by strong men. Loads of seafood are dumped for display. Children are playing instruments or interchanging with domestic jungle animals. Boys kick a ball around made of wrapped animal skins. In the residential streets, King Atlacati is carrying a wild boar and produce over his shoulders. He stops as he hears the alarm faintly in the distance. His son, Prince Atonal, late teens, fierce, appears between the dwellings and faces his father, spear and shield in hand. Men, women, and children scatter in all directions. Inside a conquistador's tent at night, Alvarado and his 3 commanders are sitting comfortably on blankets and drinking native fermented juices. Meatless animal bones and peeled fruit skins crowd a large lit lantern in the center. They are barefooted and wearing only their undergarments. Commander 1 to Alvarado. Jefe, what will you say to that king when you meet?
Fight and we devastate your tribe, or surrender and we devastate your tribe.
The men laugh, except Alvarado. He stands and separates the 10 entry. With his drink in hand, he admires the countless and starry sky, or starry sky.
This will not be an easy conquest, my brothers. The reports are they will outnumber us by 3 times.
Our cannon fire will balance the numbers, Jefe. We don't know if our musket balls and blades can penetrate their body armor.
You worry too much, Shorty.
Alvarado turns and nods at Commander number 3.
At first light, you will take your division and prepare the attack from the west. Do not get caught with your back against the river. Let the enemy come to you. I give you 2 days. And when we attack, you will guard my left flank along the eastern mountains.
Now he's changed. He's talking to somebody else now.
Talking over at me.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
When we attack, you will guard my left flank along the eastern mountains. Place the most capable fighters in the rear, saving to butcher out the exhausted foe.
No mercy.
No mercy.
No mercy.
No mercy. Oh,
That's like their thing, yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Cool.
We see a view of the city building, inside a war council room at night. Torches burn on the walls. The smoke filters through the ceiling. Colorful shields cover the walls. Ornamental, oversized spears are staged at the room corners. 13 men and women make a circle, sitting on individual benches, each dressed in their ceremonial wear.
We must discuss peace with the Longbeards. Then perhaps our neighbors will respect our borders as well.
Commotion among the circle.
My king, those salvages will take what they want, as they did the Aztec and Mayan. We must initiate an attack.
Commotion among the circle.
There will be no winners, Prince Atal. Do not underestimate them. They have tamed the great northern nations.
I propose a surprise attack. We can outflank them from the west and east. Our armies have prepared for this war for many moons.
Preparing for war is not making war, young prince.
Atonal is fuming. The council is quiet until the eldest of them all, sitting beside the king, handles the staff to stand. The eldest. I have faith in our king, as I did for his father and his grandfather. Prince Atonal bows his head. Let us wage peace first, for our children's sake, I say. If war is certain, we are ready to defend ourselves and our homes. I say so. The circle is quiet, a beat. Outside in the city building, 2 warriors meet the prince at the exit. They storm off together. Inside the council room, a fade-in, King Alacante and the eldest are in prayer. Outside in the jungle, the next day, many Mayan warriors are cutting trails for the advancing army. Inside a stone room in the daytime, Atonal is surrounded by young warriors.
We are very familiar how the Mayan fortify themselves. With a small band of our best, we can get past their defenses.
His peers nod their heads and wave their tight fists.
I volunteered us to guard the west. Yes, we will go there, but some of us will cross the river.
Intercut. Commander 3 riots among a row of Spanish Marines and Mayans.
We will execute the Longbeard leaders, and then what nation will dare threaten the Pipil?
Commander 3 rides past Mayans pulling cannons. Fade out. In the king's residence, Alagati enters his residence. He has several spacious rooms with low ceilings. Windows are covered with twine or enormous leaves. Queen Tonati appears from another room. She is in Pipil armor, red, made of textiles 1 inch thick, from her shoulders to her knees.
Our forces press to meet the invaders at the mouth of the valley as planned. This is the largest invading army we have confronted, my queen.
The queen comes forward.
We are many more, my king.
The king smiles.
I doubt they will turn back. They have traveled very far, a very determined enemy. But I must try for peace. Perhaps they are fatigued or will doubt themselves when they access our capability for war.
You have led us with great courage for many years. The nation is prosperous. Ooh, your father would be proud.
The queen squeezes and caresses her husband's face.
I will defend the cornfields. I and many more.
Tonati stops at the doorway for a last word.
The Papil will survive no matter what happens, my king. This is certain.
Tonati exits carrying her bow and arrows. Atakanti reaches for his hard but inflexible armor. Fade to black. Outside, jungle. Two massive armies stand facing each other on top of opposing hills. Women warriors are within the ranks on both sides. A canopy is below, 1,000 meters across. We fade in. A median shot. All are wet and shiny. The Mayan warriors wear ornaments around their necks, and only enough cloth to wrap or cover their privates. Barefooted, exotic bird feathers adorn their heads. The Pipil are wearing their textile armor, dyed red. Their war bonnets boast multiple long leaves, unbending and upright. Jaguar and boar tusks thorn the Mayan spears. The Pipil prefer shark and alligator jaw rods fixed to their long spears. Mayan wield painted shields derived from trees. Pipil safeguards are made thickly of textiles embroidered with colorful patterns. The meeting place. Alvarado sits on a bench in a recently cleared area. Another empty bench awaits the Pipil king, a medium long shot. Alvarado sees hundreds of Pipil between the trees, many meters away. From among them, King Atalcanti comes forward dressed for ceremony. The king slowly removes his bench and looks down on the lieutenant. Alvarado shoots to his feet. Now they are eye to eye. They speak in the Mayan of the day. Subtitles.
Surrender, your people will suffer much more if you resist.
A king never surrenders.
Look around, Indio. Many kings have surrendered,
Many kings have joined you. They want Papil too.
and they shall have it by my king's pleasure. Surrender.
We will respect your king. We will trade as friends. There's no need for war.
We are rulers under God's grace, Indio. Surrender, or we will show no mercy.
Intercut. Altonel and 6 other warriors remove their red armor and swim skillfully across a Russian river. Each of them bring only a spear and a blade. Back to the meeting place.
The Papil will not allow you to cross over the mountains. You will lose your army.
Alvarado signals to a group of Marines on a hill. The Marines turn over large leaves, uncovering 4 cannons. Emotionless, Alacanti glares at the gray tubes.
Power of my world will burn yours down. Surrender.
The people do not turn their backs on demons. You must be defeated.
Alvarado leans forward, nose to nose with Atacanti. No war removes a muscle from either side.
So be it.
Please stay seated. Guys, what did you think?
I like how visual it is. I like how I can see everything happening even as you're reading it.
And the diction is very consistent too.
Yeah, how would you characterize the diction? I found that really, I mean, both your points, I find it really remarkable in both of those things. Any like the way, for instance, that the Pipil royalty talks and talks to each. Yeah, yeah. I did.
Like
did
formal?
Formal and yeah, it's like as they speak, they're kind of proclamations in a way. That was obviously purposeful on your part.
Yes.
Yeah, and it allows you to keep the lines short but really significant, I thought.
That's how I've been taught to write script. And Alvarado is, he's supposed to be he's been through many wars. He's a conquistador. They've conquered the Aztec. They've had their way with the Mayan, and now they're going further south. So all he's known is victory, costly victories. But in my synopsis, he's a reckless leader. He's willing to sacrifice thousands of Mayan warriors. Now, I did research, so I didn't just come up with these numbers. These are real people. The numbers are real. Their armor is real, and their way of life is real. They were in the city of Cuscatlan at the time. There were approximately 1.25 million people just in the city. And they were rich with textiles and cocoa and fishing. So everybody wanted their stuff, and so they were constantly being threatened by the Mayan. and other tribes from the south that were Inca descendants, or what do you call them? Came after the Inca. They went north. They were formerly Incas, and they went north. And it would take Alvarado. After this first battle, they have a massive jungle battle. It's unbelievable. We can't hardly imagine what it was like, unless we compare it to our Civil War. It was something like that, but in the jungle. Alvarado gets wounded. Nobody knows how. Okay, no one's been recorded how. I'm going to give it to the prince. He's going to eventually sneak through that army that's approaching from the west. He's going to go right through them somehow, and he's going to meet up with number 3 instead of Alvarado, and he gets wounded. Now Alvarado, in historical fact, returns to the north, wounded, doesn't come back. Okay, his army, but he lost. So then Cortez sends somebody else, and it takes 2 other tribes to conquer the Pipil. The Pipil actually, what did them in were 2 things. On the battlefield, it was their armor, because although it would protect against spears and arrows and the cannonballs, when they fell, if they fell, they couldn't get back up. So they would be killed at where they lay. And the other thing was disease. They took in prisoners who had smallpox, who were affected with smallpox, and that decimated the Pipil. Now, why the Pipil? Well, my dad originally is Pipil. I found this out many years ago. My brother did a paper at State, and he traced my dad all the way to the Pipil. So then ever since then, I've had it in my mind, and I've done some research on the Pipil, finding all this stuff out, and an opportunity to show off the king.
Cool. Other comments about the script? Jessica?
It's not about the script per se, but I just saw a T-shirt that said "Power to the Pupil."
How about that? In fact, even to this day, the Pipil are legendary in El Salvador. There's even slang, there's even sayings like, "Has the Pipil come out of you?" You know, because it's supposed to be like an illustration of anger and warriorship. So if you go off on somebody, boy, you're really Pipiling that guy.
Okay. So we want to stick to more script stuff, though. Any other comments on script and stuff? Yeah, Adina? Yeah.
I really like your use of archetypes. You know, you have like the wise king, you have like this volatile, like young warrior. And so it's kind of like youth against wisdom. And then, of course, it's like the structured sort of European like battle style of the conquistadors. And it's almost like, the colonialism against, the tribalism. So there's like this whole, I really think that's like a really cool conflict, those 2 things put together. And also it's interesting that there is equality, like male and female warriors too. That's really interesting too, to be put into like a script play type of thing.
Yeah, woman warriors is common everywhere except the Americas, or the United States. I mean, all over the world, there were always women warriors.
It kind of plays into one of my scripts too. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. There's like a female warrior there too. So yeah, I like that. I like the archetype.
Cool. And just in terms of creating contrast, the diction, the dialogue between the bro-ish conquistadors versus the formal, the proclamations of the royalty, that makes both sides stand out more. And like you were saying, I love the scene where, for instance, we know war is coming. We see the king and we see the prince just encounter each other in the street, and you see the prince, and right away he's not going to compromise. It's like right away in part, like Adina is saying, from the archetypal aspect of the characters, you can almost feel what's coming. And the double crossing on both sides. The conquistadors have their cannon hidden, and the prince is going to run around the other side, and it's like, yes. So there's a lot set up there that's going to, we're lots of expectations and stuff moving us forward. Yeah. So anybody else with anything? Otherwise, we're going to move on because we have just so little time. Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks again, guys. We have Brian with Camilla next. Thank you, guys.
Four main women characters.
Gotcha.
One man. And then
Okay, so we need
four women, one guy.
4 women, 1 guy. Okay.
Really? Academy Award.
You're staying up?
No, I mean, I'm trying to.
Okay. Unless somebody else, unless we have another guy who's burning to be the guy. Okay, we got Matthew. And so moving down, Adina, would you like to come? And Sarah? And any other woman would like to? Jeanette, you're going to come up? Yeah, thank you. Come on up. Awesome. Thank you. All right.
Do you want me to read parentheticals as well between
I
dialogue?
think if we skip them, it breaks up things
I think
less.
so. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You are. So skip the parentheticals.
Let's do.
But maybe the scene headings that give us a sense of where things are probably is really important.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you
Okay.
guys want to assign their names?
Oh,
there
sorry.
so that
Yeah.
they can-
Do you want to be Camilla? You could be Felicia, and you'll be Helen. We need one more woman.
One more woman. Anybody gonna
You're
volunteer?
Helen.
Thanks, Ayala. Okay.
And then you'll be Jody, and then you're Brody. Oh, Brody. Yeah. Cool. You're what did we decide? Jody.
I'm Jody.
Yeah, you're Jody.
Does everybody know who they're supposed to be?
Yeah, you got it? Okay, fade in, external, San Francisco State University campus in the morning. It's a brisk autumn day on the college campus. Students hurry to class and some linger outside of the fine arts building talking and smoking. A minibus pulls to a stop and people stream out of both doors. People are sprinting in various directions. Internal, classroom, continuous. Fractured light filters through chitapa trees into the half-open classroom windows. The room is full of art supplies, cabinets, and books. There are 3 rows of easels and stools that are occupied by students focused on painting. Their teacher, Camila Martin Garcia, walks from student to student, pausing to reflect on the work before offering advice and encouragement. Camila, a diminutive woman in her early 60s, wears her long graying hair in braids that frame her kind face. She has smooth light brown skin, piercing green eyes, and speaks in a soft Spanish accent. She's a successful artist and has been teaching at the college for over 30 years.
This is turning out to be beautiful, Belicia. Your compositions improved so much.
Camilla pauses and looks intently at the painting. She places her hand on Belicia's shoulder, then gestures toward the canvas.
The detail you put into the reflection in the water and the way the waves ripple outward really draws the eyes to the pond in a lovely way. Maybe add a few more elements in this area so it doesn't become overly symmetrical.
Belicia is in her final year of college and has known Camilla since she was a freshman art student. She's in her mid-20s, tall and slender with short black hair. Art is just one of her many hobbies. She works part-time as a white hat hacker for a local company, has a proficiency in computer technology.
It's a place my family used to go when I was a little kid. I learned to swim there. It was so pretty, it didn't even cross our minds there might be snakes in it.
You can see how drawing on the experiment can really help your drawing. Okay, everyone, remember that next week is the final exam and final projects are due. Also, I'm sure everyone is looking forward to the installation of the departmental art show at Puerto Alegre tomorrow night. I'm so proud of all the work you've submitted for it. Plus, they make the best margaritas, so I hope everyone can make it out and I can make it home.
Everyone laughs. The clock on the wall reads 11 o'clock. Noticing the time, the students start packing up all of their belongings as they talk to each other or walk over to the sink to wash their paintbrushes. Dissolve 2, internal, minibus, moving. Camilla is sitting in the front of the bus heading home. We see storefronts on Market Street flashing past the window behind her. The bus turns right onto Haight Street and begins to climb up the hill. An obviously drunk man standing in the lowered stairwell is struggling to keep his balance. 2 toddlers are playing in the seats across from Camilla. She smiles at them and they wave toward her. A woman holding her son's hand walks down the aisle and makes eye contact with Camilla. The woman's face lights up. She sits down in the seat next to her and places her son on her lap. I guess I'll play this woman. I forgot about her. Oh my God, Mrs. Garcia. I was in your figure drawing class when I first moved to the city. I was a complete wreck. I don't know if you remember me. I got pregnant during my first semester and was going to quit school. You sat me down and told me that I didn't have to choose between family or getting a degree. I'm a graphic artist at Pixar now. We're still together, and Ian is the best thing that ever happened to us.
He is so pretty. He has your eyes.
Thanks. I didn't even think I could do something that I like to make money. Not that it goes very far with the rents here, but I couldn't have done it without your advice. Oh, so this is our stop. It was good to see you. Thank you for everything.
Take care, sweetie. Bye-bye, Ian.
External, city sidewalk, continuous. Alicia, Helen, and Jody are walking down the street on their way home after class. Helen has an upbeat, bubbly personality and long blonde hair. Jody is the youngest and nerdiest of the three. She has shoulder-length brown hair and overbite and glasses. The three have grown close to Camilla over their time in her classes.
I'm just saying that once you say, I do, you're basically agreeing that this is the person you choose to slowly watch die.
Helen, that is horrible.
And I'm not ready to make that kind of commitment.
Do you think Camilla was married? I've never heard her say anything about it.
When I broke up with Annette a few years ago, I didn't really know anyone. So she will invite me over to her house for dinner and we will talk about all of the crap I was dealing with. I don't know if I would have coped with all of that if she wasn't there to tell me that I wasn't going insane. Ugh. So anyway, she mostly just listened to me and never really talked about herself, but she didn't mention that there was an engagement. She did mention that there was an engagement when she was younger and still living in Spain. I'm not sure what happened with that.
I'm not sure how she could even fit the time in her life for a man. She's always either in class, teaching private lessons, or helping one of us with our messed up lives.
They walk past a homeless man and homeless woman who are sitting on the ground. The man is nodding out, has a needle line next to him. The woman asks them for change. Alicia reaches into her pocket, pulls out $1 and hands it to her. That's the homeless woman. Thank you, sugar. You sure are pretty. Y'all have a good after her speech slurs and she trolls off. The girls continue walking down the street and Helen stops to look at a coat hanging in a shop window.
I wish I could pull up something like that, like this.
I can't even look at clothes after seeing that. How can the city just let that happen? It's getting so bad here.
They were probably just like us at one point. They had jobs and an apartment, a social life. It just takes some bad luck to change everything.
Damn it! I'm going to miss my train. Having to live in Oakland sucks sometimes. I'll see you two tomorrow.
Jody runs to the stairs of the BART station and disappears down them.
Bye, see you tomorrow.
Hurry, girl.
Jody and Felicia say their goodbyes to each other and go their separate ways. Match dissolved to exterior of an outside of a corner store late afternoon. Camilla is walking out of a grocery store with a bag of groceries. She turns left and begins walking down the street. As she walks past a building that is covered in a mural, a boy whizzes by past her on a bike. Hola, Miss Garcia.
Hola.
Oh, sorry.
Hola, watch out for cars.
Camilla continues walking and reaches her house a few doors down. It's an old Victorian with white paint that is chipping and showing its age. There are 2 chairs and a small table on the porch where Camilla often sits and talks with her upstairs neighbor Mona. As she reaches the top of the stairs, we see over Camilla's shoulder that there is an official-looking letter posted on the door. The words eviction notice are prominent on the outside of it. She stares at it with a blank expression in shock. Still holding her groceries, Camilla's trembling hand that is holding her keys reaches for the letter. She drops the keys. An ambulance siren can be heard in the distance. She kneels down to pick up the keys, takes a deep breath, quickly stands back up and rips the letter off the door. She unlocks and opens the door, walks in and closes it in one swift motion. Internal, Camilla's house, entryway, continuous. Camilla places a notice, keys, purse, and groceries down on a hallway table. She takes her cardigan off and hangs it on a coat rack, then slips her shoes off. She picks up the letter and groceries and walks down the hall to her kitchen. Internal, Camilla's house, kitchen, continuous. She places the letter and groceries on the kitchen table and walks over to a cabinet. She opens the cabinet and pulls out a can of cat food. She opens the drawer, pulls out a can opener, and opens the can. 2 cats run into the kitchen and affectionately brush up against her legs. She places the food in their bowls and refills their water bowls at the sink. She places the bowls on the ground. They start eating. She walks over to the kitchen table, pulls out a chair, and sits in silence with the letter in front of her. The sound of her cell phone ringing comes from the hallway. Tears fill her eyes. She stares blankly at a clock on the wall opposite her. Internal Camilla's house, living room, next morning. Camilla is in a robe sitting on her couch. She is holding a coffee mug and has her cell phone laying in her lap. The eviction notice is on the coffee table next to a vase of fresh-cut iris from her garden. Birds are chirping outside. She takes a sip from the cup, places it on the table, and picks up her cell phone. She searches for a phone number, presses dial, and lets out a long sigh. Internal sports car, same time. Was that me? Sorry, Brody Grimaldi is Camilla's landlord. He is a recent transplant from the East Coast, and his family money has allowed him to become a success in the booming San Francisco real estate market. He's in his late 30s, wears designer suits, and talks as if the whole room is listening to him at all times. He cares little about the city's vibrant history as unscrupulous in matters concerning money.
Yeah, Brody Grimaldi.
Hi, Mr. Brody. This is Camila Martin Garcia, your tenant in 1533 Oak Street. How are you?
Yeah, hi, Camille. What can I do for you?
Yeah. I just came home and found an eviction notice on my front door. I knew there must be some mistake, so I just wanted to call you to...
Yeah, it's real. I told my lawyer to go out there and serve it today.
Brody says something unintelligible to a passenger in the car and chuckles. Camilla clutches the pillow lying next to her on the couch.
But Mr. Brody, I don't believe we've done anything wrong to get evicted. Mona and I have lived in this house for decades and have never caused any...
It isn't personal, you know. I'm just going to be able to get more money out of the place if I knock it down and turn it into condos. The amount of money tech kids will pay for a small apartment out here is crazy. We have just 2 people living on a lot that size anyway. It's a waste of money.
But Mr. Brody, Mona's on a fixed budget and our whole lives are tied up in this house.
You'll be able to take everything you'll have in that place to a new one, just the same.
I have a lot of students who come here to study and get away from the problems. They rely on me for more than just art lessons.
And that's my problem. How? Meet them at your school? It's state funded, right? That's where my taxes go, right?
There must be something we...
Look, this really isn't up for debate, miss. What'd you say about you? What's your name again?
Camila Martin Garcia. Mr. Grimaldi, this is not right.
Well, Miss Garcia, I have every right to do what I want with the place. I bought it for just under $5 million, and I'll be damned if I don't double that before I sell it.
Well, then what are we supposed to do? I'm sorry to be so upset, but I'm a teacher, and Mona can hardly work these days. We can't afford these new rent prices in the city.
If you can't afford Frisco, then move somewhere else, lady. This city isn't changing for the better. It isn't for people anymore, poor people anymore. Why don't you just move to Oakland or someplace else in the East Bay? I hear it's nice over there across the bridge.
Camilla throws a pillow across the room, knocking over the vase of flowers in the process.
I'll be contacting my lawyer to put a stop to this, Mr. Grimaldi.
Good luck.
Sound of car accelerating and Brody fumbling to hang up the phone. Silence. Camilla lays her phone on her lap, leans back into the couch cushion, and looks up at the ceiling. She hears knocking on her back door. Mona, which is her upstairs neighbor. "You're all right, hun? I heard something break." Mona has lived above Camilla for over 20 years. She's around her age, but looks older. She wears torn jeans, concert t-shirts from a bygone era, and drives a brown VW Beetle. She is a self-proclaimed neighborhood hall monitor. Dissolved 2, internal restaurant night. It is the opening night of the art show at a Mexican restaurant called Porto Alegre. Belicia, Jody, and Helen are sat in a booth. Belicia's painting of a pond is on the wall next to them. Artwork created by Camilla's other students hangs throughout the establishment. A 3-piece mariachi band tunes up their instruments. The waitress brings over a pitcher of margaritas to the table. Helen pours everyone a glass.
Camilla wasn't kidding. These really are good.
Where is she? It's not like her to be late.
She's probably waiting for the bus. My train was 20 minutes late.
You're always late.
Here she is.
Camilla walks in the door and says hello to the hostess. She pauses to look at the paintings adorning the walls and looks around for her students. She makes eye contact with the girls, walks to the booth, sits next to Helen, giving her a hug.
Hi, Miss Garcia.
I love your dress.
So sorry I'm late, ladies.
Camilla looks at Belicia's painting of the pond and smiles.
I'm so proud of you all. Your paintings look great. You girls should really be proud of yourselves.
I feel like Van Gogh without the mental problems.
Are you okay, Camila? You seem flustered.
Honestly, girls, I got some bad news yesterday.
What happened?
I'm so embarrassed. I got an eviction notice from my landlord yesterday. He wants to knock down our house and build condos.
The girls let out a collective gasp.
That's effed up.
Oh my God, Miss Garcia, I'm so sorry.
Isn't there some way to stop it?
My lawyer says it's something called an incurable eviction. So because he owns the property, he has the right to do what he wants with it. I had a feeling when Mr. Grimaldi bought the building that something was wrong.
Is that your landlord?
Yes, he comes from a wealthy family and owns a lot of buildings in the city, but isn't much older than you three.
Must be nice.
I called to try to reason with him. He didn't listen to me. My neighbor Mona called him too, but they just got into an even bigger fight. I feel so bad for her. I don't know what she'll do.
What are you going to do?
There must be something wrong with a guy who will kick women out of their house. What a jerk.
I'm not sure I'll be able to stay in the city. It's so expensive now.
If he's playing dirty, then you should too.
God, Helen, where are you, the Godfather?
I'm not saying mug the guy, but what if we found out something seedy about him that could be used against him? Maybe he'll have to back off. Felicia, you know all about the black web or whatever it's called, right?
Girls, I appreciate...
I know what we're gonna do.
The mariachi band starts playing. Fade out. It's nice to hear it. Actually,
Yeah, we got some good performance. So what did you guys think? What would you, again, the criteria is written up on the board. If you're having trouble fixing on something you want to say, remember?
I felt the dialogue was consistent and it was entertaining. But it also was very realistic. There was a nice touch, I thought. When she drops the keys, when Pamela drops the keys, and there's a siren in the background. I thought it was a nice touch.
Yeah.
I thought like he said, the dialogue was entertaining and it kept me, wanting to hear more. But the other issue that I have is because I also am a property owner. Okay? I don't agree with the way it's going, but the issue is that if Mr. Grimaldi bought the place for $5 million, he's probably got also assets somewhere else. So the tenants would not be going to the owner directly. They'd be going through a property manager or so on and so forth.
okay.
So, you know what I mean?
Not
They'd go
really,
through a
but
law office
okay.
before they went to go talk to the owner.
Right,
directly.
okay. Yeah. Well, I've never been evicted, so yeah, I wouldn't have.
You're lucky.
done
Maybe in future drafts that
Yeah.
could be second act material. They cut out the property manager and get right to the owner.
I mean, I literally just evicted somebody out of my property in Washington, so I had to go through the law process and all that kind of stuff, and I never ever talked to the tenants.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, just to make it more real.
Right.
Speaking from somebody that has been evicted through this similar situation where somebody that owns the property wanted to move their family in, because you can do that too. That part was pretty realistic. Like, you literally just come home and there's boom, and you're just like, okay, what am I going to do? And I love how you had her just sit down like that with her cat. Because that's like exactly what you do. That was so realistic. I don't know about the property
That's
manager.
what you have a lease for. You make sure the lease, if you have a signed lease that says, I'm here for 2 years, the property owner or whatever, they can't do anything unless they stop making rent.
It was already,
If it's a month to month, yeah, you're at the mercy.
Okay, well, let's get back on to script writing. We've heard.
Trying to make it more
Oh, got it. No, I understood. I understand why that came up for sure.
love the dialogue between all of the best friends. Like, it was so, just I guess the energy of it, and also the timing and the rhythm and all of it was just really realistic of how three friends kind of get together and talk. I like that a lot.
And they had different personalities.
Yeah.
Speaking of personality,
Yeah.
speaking of personality, I guess mine was supposed to be the nerdy one, but she seems like she had the most sass.
I liked that too.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's something that really worked for me too. And it's fun just to see the friends, put them together, and see what comes out. Like, you're right, and they got character. It's like They're kind of jumping off the page.
Who's Jody? Were you?
I was Jody. I was the one who was 20 minutes late, about to miss the part. All that super relatable.
I also sorry.
Yeah.
I also liked the evocation of Camila in her environments, you know, at work and then in her neighborhood on the bus as well.
Right.
I mean, she keeps running into people for whom she's really dear, and I think that was really well done. You know, I think one bit of advice I'd say is compress, like compress within description, so that kind of the way that in some cases we can identify who somebody is immediately without as much backstory.
Right.
And maybe compress even with the friends meeting up before Camilla enters, maybe one line of dialogue before she comes in and announces. Even though it does feel more natural, nothing happens with such compression, but in the script you want to move it along.
Okay.
That would be like my one overall note, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. All right. Sarah, do you want to stay up and we'll do yours next? And who do we need to cast for you?
Let's see. I say.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Or you guys guys, and then one guy can play like, because there's only like a guy that says like one line.
Okay, girls, have a seat again. Sorry. Thanks, I'll just grab it. Thank you.
I was like, I'm not about to go back just yet.
I didn't print enough out, I think, so let me give here. So now we need 3 girls and we said three guys. Can we draw the folks from the back? Dylan, you want to come up? All right, Albert, you want to come up? All right, go for it. We need more chairs. And we're going to have to share scripts. How are we doing on time? Crystal, I think we're going to have to read yours on Thursday. Okay?
There's another chair.
Thanks. I see, Dylan. Let's see. How are we doing on casting? So we have 3 guys.
Yeah, no,
Are you going to do one of the roles? I can do one of the roles too if you want.
No, I think I can be one.
Okay. All right.
Me assign roles. Okay. You can be Jose, and then you can be Charette, and then you can be the cameraman / Roberto, and then you can be the director. Yes, and the producer. Yes. Wait, no. Sorry, my bad. The elderly lady. I'll be for the producer. Yes. Okay.
Wait, does elderly lady have a name?
I didn't give her a name, no.
No worries.
Okay.
Elderly lady is.
All right.
Call her Elder.
So, internal local station evening. The news broadcast just finished airing.
Sorry, Sarah, could you speak up a bit just because it's
okay. Internal local station evening. The news broadcast just finished airing.
And that's a wrap.
Pulling back, we see we're inside a studio and various staff members scatter the area as the show has just wrapped. We see 2 hosts sitting behind the news desk. Charlotte writes her notebook as her co-host Roberto looks over at her.
Hey, have you heard?
Heard what exactly?
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Scarlett looks up from her writing, studying his face.
No, I mean, why would I be kidding?
I'm just messing with you. The team's coming up with a new segment for the show. Do you know Nancy Drew?
Of course.
Well, okay, it's exactly like Nancy Drew.
What exactly do you mean by that?
They're thinking of delving into missing people's cases, maybe making it into its own segment.
That sounds great. Why didn't I know about this sooner?
Still early in the talks, I guess.
Makes sense. Well, it's still really exciting, but it's true. I think it'd be a perfect addiction. What does it say?
Addition.
Oh, it's still really exciting. If true, I think it'd make a perfect addition. I mean, just look at what we've been reporting these last few weeks.
Charlotte gets up from her chair, beginning to pick up her stuff.
Don't get too excited now. Ideas come up all the time.
Charlotte stops, looking over at Roberto.
I have a good feeling about this, though. It has some great potential to bring some light to older cases.
I guess so.
I hope I can get a chance to work on one. Can you imagine?
Cut to internal local station, meeting room, morning. Charlotte is walking down the hallway on the way to the meeting room. A mandatory meeting was called for at 8 a.m. She walks past various people sitting at their desks. She arrives and the room is full of producers, writers, executives.
No.
I guess I can just be it. Okay, good morning, Charlotte.
Good morning, good morning, and good morning to everyone else.
Charlotte looks around the room before sitting in her seat. Okay, let's get straight to it. I'm sure you've heard about the new segment we've come up with.
Yes, Roberto told me about it a few days ago, but wasn't it early in talks?
Not necessarily. We think it'd be a great addition to the show.
I think so too. Those are two important stories that need and deserve to be told.
Yes, which is why you'll be getting the first story. Charlotte's eyes widen as she looks around the room. Her eyes light up.
That's incredible. Thank you for giving me such an amazing opportunity.
You deserve it. The writers and producers will give you a rundown, as this will need to be done by the end of the week. He passes her a manila folder. You'll be covering a story. Oh, that's not me. Sorry.
Okay, I'll be producer. You'll be covering a story about a 20-year-old man, Carlos Rivera, last seen 3 years ago in Puerto Negra. You'll head over there first, and we'll be joining you after you conduct some initial interviews.
When do I head out there?
In a couple of days.
Fade to internal Jose's house early morning. Jose, 38, is standing in front of the mirror, buttoning up his black shirt. He walks to the hallway where a small altar is seen inside the wall. He opens a page in the Bible placed in front of him and begins to read it. As he's walking out of his house, we see various crosses and saints covering the walls. He runs his hand across the large cross placed near the door before exiting. Cut to external, isolated road, early morning. As Jose is walking down a beaten road, we see the rundown, rusty homes and buildings. Many are boarded up, no cars in sight. It almost seems like an abandoned town, as there is no sign of life for miles. There are many abandoned stands with faded signs. One reads, "Cocoa for sale." Cut to external church, day. Wide angle on the small church, a juxtaposition with the well-maintained church and rundown buildings. The street is eerily quiet, deserted. Cut to internal church. Several older people sit at the front of the church, many of them wearing rebosos as the winter weather is harsh. Some are praying at the front altar. A line forms at the back table as they are handing out coffee and crackers. A man is standing out giving pamphlets to the patrons. Don't forget, if you need any food for winter, do let us know. We will try to provide as much as we can. Cut to external outskirts, evening. This is in Charlotte's point of view. Empty roads up ahead and what seems like nothing for miles. Abandoned stands on the side of the road before entering the small rural town. She brings her vehicle to a stop in front of a large abandoned building in the town center. Wide-shot as she exits the car and nothing. Charlotte looks around and begins walking towards what seem to be once occupied houses. And then we have an onlooker's point of view from inside of a house, following Charlotte's movement towards a house nearby. Charlotte notices a house with non-dead plants on the front porch and knocks on the door. A beat, then the door cracks open slowly.
Who are you? What do you want?
Hello, ma'am. I'm Charlotte Cisneros with Telever. I have a few questions regarding a missing person.
I'm busy.
It'll be quick, I promise. I just need some answers.
A pause, then the door fully opens.
Come on in.
Internal elderly lady's house. The house is filled with old, broken down furniture. An elderly cat naps near the stove. A small table stands in the middle of the kitchen. The walls covered in faded paint exposing the concrete.
Do you want some water?
Yes, please.
The elderly lady places 2 mugs filled with water on the table as she sits down.
Thank you.
I know who you're here about.
You do?
Yeah. Elenita's boy? No one here likes to talk about it.
Why is that?
I don't know. Saw him days before, though. I was sitting out front. He was walking home from church with his mama.
Did you notice anything suspicious?
Nothing seems off.
Does Elenita live close by? I need to speak with her as well.
Nope. She and that whole family just up and left after Carlitos disappeared. No note or nothing.
Interesting. How exactly did you know her?
Just church. Wasn't too close to her. She was nice and kept to herself.
Charlotte studies the lady's face. Nothing suspicious.
Do you know someone who would know where they've gone?
Listen, if I were you, I would go talk to the priest. He knows everybody.
The priest?
Yes, the church seems to be the only thing keeping this town together.
Fade to internal church night. Charlotte walks towards the doors of the church, gently pushing the doors open. Intricate religious artwork fills the walls and lit candles surround religious statues.
Hello? Is anyone here?
Silence. She walks towards one of the small altars. She examines.
Anyone? Hello?
She makes her way to the first set of pews and notices various newspapers on one row. She picks one up to examine. In the front of the church, a figure appears watching her from the side.
Who are you?
Charlotte jumps and drops the newspaper. She faces the area where the voice came from.
I'm Charlotte Cisneros, a reporter for Televisa. I'm investigating a disappearance. He was last seen here in this town. Does Carlos Rivera sound familiar?
Jose walks out of the side, appearing in the center of the main altar.
The church is closed.
I just wanted to ask you a few questions.
I know nothing.
He was a member of this church, you know. It'll be quick. I just need...
Jose walks down the center, reaching the first set of pews.
You don't even know what you're looking for.
Excuse me?
You need to get out. We're closed.
Let's just sit down Let's just sit down. I'll ask some questions. It won't take long.
No need for that, you know. I already said I know nothing. You've made a mistake coming here.
What do you mean by that? You know something.
Jose picks up the paper Charlotte was reading and hands it to her.
There are things here you wouldn't want to know about.
Then we get a close-up of Charlotte as she steps back, and then it fades to black.
What did you guys think?
I do better if I can look at the scripts. I can keep track of
Okay.
some of the nuances there.
Okay.
Of all my characters, of all the different characters. But I like the overall set. I'm not the best advisor on this.
Okay. Well, thank you for weighing in, Matthew. Other ideas?
I like the atmosphere of all of the sets as it changed, like the church, the old woman's house. They definitely set up the scene. And my one suggestion would be some of the dialogue feels like it could be a little bit more conversational, but I like the intention of the conversation that's in the dialogue, if that makes any sense.
I've never known a priest to turn somebody away.
That stood out to me too. Like it's a big move to say the church is closed.
Right.
Yeah.
That automatically make. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No.
That automatically make me think that priest is a suspect of
Right.
the disappearance because he's a little too snappy, and I watched too many crime shows. He's snappy. He got something to do with it.
Or just somebody who does.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm trying to cover up.
But then when he says at the very end, there's stuff you don't want to know, that's kind of like I would expect that somebody who's actually implicated, just no, nothing here, no here, but where he's sort of saying, no, there's tons of shit here, but you don't want to know it. So that's kind of opening a door to maybe he is, maybe he isn't. That was interesting. Yeah.
First off, I want to apologize because I didn't read anything. I thought I misheard. I thought I was giving the director and you're the producer.
My bad.
But then I found out afterwards. But anyways, what I liked about it was that it kind of felt like a lot of people were in on it. But kind of like the sense of mystery that you have. If you've ever seen the Truman Show, it kind of seems like she's on a set the whole time, as opposed to just the person at the end being the evil person. I don't know.
So we're expecting there to be like a whole, interrelated set of people hiding stuff. Yeah.
Like how she immediately gets the position and all these things happen.
I thought that too. It was like this would be like a reporter's dream to just immediately get a gigantic scoop the first day they like sit down in a job. That automatically would be suspicious of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel in some ways the genre is working for you, and it's interesting that you start out in a TV station with a TV reporter, because true crime is such a genre and cold case is such a current thing. Like everybody wants to do that in podcasts and TV and stuff. So it just makes so much sense that she gets a story like that it's kind of a cold story. And you're rushing because of the constraints to develop stuff, which is good. So that really worked for me. And then the way the genre is also working, I think, is creating these expectations. Small community, they're all in it together somehow. There's plenty to hide. Reporter has to kind of start pulling on strings and seeing which one will actually loosen. And she had an easy time getting to talk to the first lady. You might complicate that more, maybe or maybe not. But yeah, so I think a lot of this is the genre is helping you, and you're grabbing onto it and using it really well. So I thought that was very cool. Yeah. Other comments while I was nattering? You thought of some other things? Jessica, did you want to say? No? Oh, okay, that wasn't a hand up. Okay.
I just want to know what's coming up. How they're going to resolve this,
Yeah. Young child. Did we? I think you could maybe milk the mystery for a little more by giving a couple more details. Like, is this like a really young kid? I mean, the church is involved. Is it like, oh boy, are we going there? Or, so yeah, you can maybe plant some seeds a little like that to make the mystery seem more sinister or not. Yeah. Wow, what fun. Okay. We're going to close 5 minutes early, in fact. So Crystal is going to go on Thursday, and then we're going to talk about the exam review and the upcoming project, and that should definitely fill up Thursday. Hopefully we can.